Have you ever found yourself just intensely annoyed by someone, and then later you kind of think, why did that bother me so much? Like, way out of proportion. Today, we're going on a bit of a journey, actually, into why that happens, and it might reveal something pretty surprising about ourselves, not just them. We often hear this term, shadow, from Carl Jung's work. For those who know it, it's this idea of a hidden part of us, right? Not necessarily bad stuff, but things we deny or push down. Could be anger, sure, but maybe even positive things we don't let out. Can you unpack that a bit more? What is this shadow really, and what happens when we ignore it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite fascinating, really. The shadow holds all the bits of ourselves we've decided aren't acceptable, consciously or unconsciously. And what's really striking is just how much of our mental life is unconscious. Our research points to something like, well, 95% of our daily thoughts, feelings, even our choices, happening below the level of awareness.
95%. Wow.
Yeah. It means most of the time, we're sort of on autopilot, guided by these hidden currents. And the parts we deny, they don't just vanish into thin air. They get pushed down, yes, but then they tend to get, well, projected, thrown onto other people.
Projected, like a movie projector.
Kind of. It's this defense mechanism, psychological projection. We take our own unacknowledged feelings or traits, and instead of seeing them in ourselves, we see them often magnified in someone else.
Okay, that 95% figure is still rattling around in my head. So it feels like you're saying our subconscious is basically steering the ship, and we just call it fate or life happening.
That's a really powerful way to put it, yeah. And it ties directly into those really strong negative reactions we sometimes have.
Ah, right. So when someone really gets under your skin.
Exactly. That intense feeling, the anger, the irritation, the maybe even hate often. What we're seeing is that the other person is acting out something that's part of your shadow. They embody a quality you've worked incredibly hard to suppress in yourself. It forces that uncomfortable question. Hang on, does this person remind me of something I desperately don't want to be? But maybe, just maybe, a tiny part of me is.
Okay, the theory makes sense. But let's get practical. How does this actually show up? Can you walk us through some common examples, those everyday annoyances?
Oh, definitely. Let's take this show off. Everyone knows one, right? The person who seemed to love the spotlight, always talking about their achievements.
Mm-hmm. Can be grating.
Totally. And the immediate reaction might be, ugh, so arrogant. But if it really pushes your buttons, the shadow question is, were you taught that being humble is paramount?
Hmm.
That you should never, ever boast? Maybe there's a part of you that actually wants to shine a bit, to share your successes, but you've squashed that down so hard. Seeing someone else do it freely feels, well, unfair. Like they're breaking a rule you strictly follow.
So the irritation is really about my own suppressed desire.
It can be, yeah. The growth isn't necessarily becoming a show off yourself, but maybe allowing yourself a little more authentic self-expression, acknowledging your own strengths without feeling shame.
Okay, what's another one?
How about the control freak? The person needing everything just so, maybe micromanaging.
Oh, yes. That can be tough.
Right. Intense frustration there might point to your own desire for control. Maybe you have those impulses too, but you suppress them because perhaps you were criticized for being bossy once. Often, deep down, that need for control is really about feeling safe, wanting predictability. So understand that in yourself, finding healthier ways to feel secure without trying to manage everyone else, that's the integration part.
Interesting. What about the opposite end? Someone who seems, well, lazy or unambitious?
Ah, the lazy person. If someone who seems perfectly content doing nothing makes your blood boil, it's worth asking. Are you driven relentlessly by anxiety? Do you feel guilty the second you stop doing? For some people, seeing someone relax triggers their own deep-seated fear of failure, of losing momentum, of maybe things falling apart if they let go even for a second.
So the lazy person isn't the problem. My own anxiety about stopping is.
It could be the core of that intense reaction, yes. Their relaxation highlights your inability to relax, or the guilt tied to it. Maybe the invitation here is to see rest not as laziness, but as necessary, as a skill even.
Okay, one more.
Let's do the crybaby, or maybe someone perceived as overly emotional or too sensitive.
Right, the glass-hearted type.
Exactly. If you find yourself feeling contempt or dismissive towards someone expressing vulnerability, it often stems from being taught, perhaps very young, to toughen up, to suppress your own tears, your own fears. You built a strong exterior, maybe. But inside, there might be this unattended inner child, as some put it. Seeing overt emotion in others feels threatening because it mirrors the vulnerability you've worked so hard to hide in yourself. It feels weak because you were taught your vulnerability was weakness.
So their emotion reflects my own unacknowledged feeling.
Precisely. It brings up the fear that if you were that vulnerable, it would be catastrophic. Integrating that shadow means recognizing vulnerability isn't a flaw, it's human. It's okay not to be strong all the time.
These examples really hit home. But I have to ask, what if someone is just genuinely being, inconsiderate or causing harm? Is it always projection? Surely sometimes dislike is just dislike.
That's a really, really important clarification. Thank you for bringing it up. No, absolutely not. It's not always projection. Sometimes people behaving badly, sometimes setting a boundary, saying that's not okay, or choosing not to engage is simply healthy self-protection. It's not about your shadow.
Okay, so how do you tell the difference?
The key is often in the intensity and quality of your reaction. Does it feel disproportionate to the actual event? Does it hook something deep inside you, feel personal, linger long after? Does it feel less like a simple disagreement and more like a raw nerve being touched? That disproportionate, emotionally charged reaction is the clue. That's the signal that, yeah, maybe there's some projection happening, something worth exploring internally.
That makes sense. The emotional charge is the tell.
Exactly. It's the difference between, that was rude, and I cannot stand that person, they make my skin crawl. The second one probably has a shadow element.
Got it. So for listeners who are resonating with this, who are thinking, okay, maybe there's something here for me, what's the first step? How do you actually start this shadow integration?
It really starts with self-awareness. Just noticing. Shadow integration isn't about getting rid of the shadow. You can't cure a day. It's about bringing its contents into the light. Seeing, accepting, understanding these bits of yourself. So the first step is simple, but not always easy. Ask yourself, who has really annoyed me lately? Pinpoint the person.
Okay.
Then ask, what specific quality in them triggered that strong reaction in me? Be precise. Was it their loudness, their perceived weakness, their confidence? Then the crucial third question. Is there any part of me, even a tiny forbidden part, that has a similar impulse or desire, even if I hate to admit it?
Oof, that's the tough one.
It can be. And maybe a follow-up. If I did act on that impulse myself, what would I be most afraid of? What judgment would I fear from others? Answering these honestly, well, it starts to connect the dots. You often find that what you despise out there is directly linked to something unaccepted in here.
It sounds like a path to maybe less judgment and more self-understanding.
That's the goal. More wholeness, less reactivity. As Jung himself put it, and this is quite profound, we are not destroyed by what we accept, only by what we refuse to face.
Wow, that's powerful. So perhaps the invitation here for everyone listening is this. The next time you have that really intense emotional reaction to someone, pause. Consider that it might not just be about them. It might actually be a message from a hidden part of yourself asking for attention. What truth about your own unlived life could that feeling be trying to show you?